If you had to redo college, what would you do differently, or would you do the same shit?
No regrets. No
Yeah, no
regrets, Dice.
regrets, Dice.
I'm the biggest the oldest sister.
Mm,
So I was very financially aware of what my mom could afford.
yeah.
And then in my mind, like I have a budget for her for each of her kid, including me. So I would always pick the cheapest route for me so that she would have money to take care of the sibling. So I wish I had like
You wish
I
you
don't
were
know
more
like
selfish in that
like
sense.
yeah, like a little bit more selfish and just like do what I want to do. Doesn't matter the cost because she can afford it, but in my mind it's like okay, like because she have two more people to take care, so I need to like like really stay under budget for her. It's like a way of me loving her, like returning back to her. But yeah, I feel like I could be a little less caring in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if I could redo college, realistically, I'd probably just party a little bit less.
Yeah.
No, like I would still try to do like have fun, but like there's times where I'm like, maybe we could cut that back a little bit more and focus a little bit more on studying. But no regrets, right? No regrets. So everything all worked out, which was fine. But again, I think it just comes down to like maybe it could have worked out a little bit faster.
For me, yes, it was the drinking, the college drinking and skipping classes, just like Eric.
Stop with the party.
Like don't stop partying. It's a good experience, but
Yeah.
just don't overdo it. Like
Yeah.
drinking
Yeah.
on a Tuesday night, maybe you shouldn't.
I wish I didn't dance.
What?
I mean, I'm grateful for all the people that I met. Like I don't want to take that back, but the dancing part, so many hours just wasted.
I get where you're coming from, and obviously I can't put myself in your shoes, but that's like me and my frat. Like, oh, I party too much because of them. But at the end of the day, like, I would ever say I would take it back because through them is how I met other friends that I met. You guys, so,
Yeah.
like, I think it's like the butterfly effect. Like, if you change one little thing, your whole path in life changes. It's like if you didn't do dance, maybe I don't think I would have met you. At the end of the day, that's how I think about it. Like I get what you're saying, like, like maybe change your habits with dance, like maybe not put so much effort into it and like, and don't validate yourself based off dance so much. But like, for me, like, this is just me. Like, I wouldn't change really anything so drastic because again, I think at the end of the day, like we went down a certain path and I like where I'm at right now. And I feel like if I changed something like that, it would just completely derail my life in a certain direction.
But
Yeah.
were you enjoying it though when you were doing it?
I enjoyed performing.
No.
I hated the practices.
I think of it this way. Like I do think it was kind of like wasteful, and I did hate the politics too. I'm with you on that for sure. But for me, it kind of helps me build characters. And sometimes like it does help me like stay grounded on my current self. Let's say I'm doing like a really hard project at work right now. I'm just like, man, this is so shitty. Like, why do I have to work all these extra hours? But then I get to think back of like the old times when I freaking danced for free, freezing in the cold, like late night, 3 a.m. And I'm like, if I could survive through that for like 3 years, this is nothing because I'm getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Like I always think of it that way.
You're
It's
putting
more than 3 years.
perspective. Yeah.
What were you guys most self-conscious about in college?
Oh.
Or were you self-conscious?
We
at
just
all?
talked about it. My weight.
Your weight?
Yeah, my
Oh.
weight.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, I was very self-conscious about that. Yeah, all the time. Back then, I didn't know nothing about like fitness or lifting weights. So I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm dancing, so that should help, right?"
Yeah.
But yeah, I was very.
I'm so conscious about what I ask.
Mm.
So I always sit at the front and I always want to ask a question because I need to understand. But like every time I ask a question, it's like, is that stupid? Like, am I supposed to already like know that?
Yeah.
But I do it anyway. But why feeling like
Yeah.
conscious all the time? But yeah, I wish I didn't. I wish I asked more.
Yeah.
It would make it easier.
I don't think too much. I wasn't like the most confident person, but like going to college was that was one reason why I like going to college, because it made me a little bit more social at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was just subconscious about like speaking to people, but at the end of the day, it wasn't like that big of a deal.
Like, what are you
Like-
conscious about though?
Like
In
it's
public or
just in public, and just
Mm.
like, just for me, like I think maybe I kind of defaulted like, oh, I don't need to make new friends too, because it was easier just not to talk to anyone, and that kind of became my persona. But like for me, it's fine now. But I guess coming out of high school, it was just a little bit more. I was like, you're awkward coming out of high school and you're going to college, and like, so I think just the social aspect of life was a little bit more. I was a little bit more subconscious about, meeting new people in college, because like I didn't have like
you
no-
guys, he was awkward.
yeah, it was awkward.
Well,
I was
As an introverted, awkward person,
yeah,
and you join like one of the biggest frat.
yeah.
How was that experience? Because
that was
you're
great.
forced to talk to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why like I don't regret really anything in college, and like for me that was we partied a lot, that fucked up my schooling a little bit, but at the end of the day, the road it took me down, like I don't regret it,
Remember when you first met me?
Yeah.
Totally ignored me, and I was like, "What
Yeah,
the fuck is
yeah,
this
yeah,
person
yeah,
like?"
you know?
I'm in his house. You didn't even offer me your hookah.
Yeah.
And I was like so pissed.
Yeah,
I didn't even
yeah.
want to ride in the same car with you.
Yeah, I know. But
Yeah.
long story short, like again, I have those manners. Maybe it's just because it just automatically just defaults to that now, because I don't like talking to people because of how I was before. It's not like I can talk to people, but it's a lot easier now. But I think before, like, it was a little bit more difficult, and obviously college made it easier. But like I still have old habits where I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
really talk to you.
So
Yeah.
you kind of like fall. That's your
My default,
your-
like
your
default.
yeah. So, but yeah, I think before, like, if
Interesting.
I was coming into college, I think I was a little subconscious about talking to people. Yeah.
What's your first impression of me?
Of you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Be real.
If I had to make something up, I'd probably be like, you're scary. That's probably like 80% true. Like, I'll probably be pretty accurate. You're a little intimidating. I'm not gonna lie.
You too.
You're not intimidating, but you weren't friendly. You don't have the friendly vibe.
What do you
He
mean?
is intimidating.
I am not intimidating at all. Like, realistically, I just don't talk to you.
You
I-
do give off that vibe.
Yeah,
though.
you give off the
Yeah,
unfriendly vibe.
Yeah.
The way you go,
Yeah.
What made you anxious in your 20s?
You know what's really weird? I did not know about anxiety until after college.
Oh.
Yeah.
You were drunk most of the time?
No, I didn't know that feeling was a thing. Really, like
Oh.
like I felt that feeling before, but I never even looked it up, like what it was. I thought I was just like drinking too much energy drink, so I'm just like jittery.
Yeah, I think it was post college.
So you didn't know what it was before too.
Yeah, I
like,
think
yeah,
maybe like halfway through college, where I'm like, oh shit, this is not as easy as
But you
like
didn't
high
even
school.
yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really know what it was until later on.
I didn't know what it was either
Mhm.
until I took a trip
Mhm.
to a forest.
Wait,
Yeah.
by yourself?
By myself.
But why did a forest give you anxiety? Was it because you were lost?
No, I was just by myself in my thought,
Mhm.
and then it's like all this feeling coming to me, and then I realized, oh, like I'm anxious about a certain thing.
Mhm.
Like this is anxiety.
Yeah.
But
Ah.
in that moment, the anxiety is how I come off as a
Mhm.
person.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like
So-
the vibe you're giving out.
Yeah, and like how I treated people.
Mm.
Like basically, like, oh, do I have enough empathy? Do I
Mhm.
like am I a good person? Basically. So that's where my core anxiety started.
Mm.
Yeah.
The anxiety that I had when I was in my 20s was, what is it? Like, not knowing what's going to happen after I graduate. My family, we didn't have much. This was actually my biggest fear, was I ended up homeless. I did actually end up homeless. I was like living in my car for about a month, but I didn't have like a home to go back to. Like, it wasn't an option that I had. So I had to think like, okay, who can I turn to quickly? Like who will be able to take care of me after I graduate? Or am I gonna be able to take care of myself?
That's
And-
scary as fuck. I think I seen you during that time, and you held yourself together
Pretty
like
well.
like I
Yeah.
wouldn't know until you tell me.
Yeah.
That's when I realized, okay, like this is stemming from my childhood, and this is probably gonna live with me until like I work on it. So even to this day, like Eric knows, like I'm like always stressed about like, okay, what if we get home? What if we turn homeless? What if I lose my job? And like, what if I can't afford all these things? Where Eric already knows like it's gonna be okay. But for me, I still go back to my
The
childhood.
worst, yeah.
Like,
Stability.
It's a little bit of PTSD, but you know,
Yeah.
you're working on it, and
Because you actually lived through it.
if someone gave you $1 million when you were 20 years old, what do you think you would have done with it?
I would have
Yeah.
done something like super boring. Like my parents would have told me like, oh, you gotta fucking invest that shit, or like you gotta put it away. Knowing me, like that's the route I probably would have taken.
I would
For
come to my
sure.
parents because I wouldn't know what to do with it,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
I would probably ask for help, like
Yeah.
from like a trusted source. Probably might have asked your mom, to be honest.
My mom?
Yeah.
Oh.
I probably would have bought a house. That's pretty much it. And then
Ooh.
the rest of it, I would have done the stupid thing where put it into a savings and get 2%.
It's like, ooh.
What is the craziest thing you guys have ever done in your 20s?
I'm a boring person. Like
So what's the craziest thing
nothing.
a
Like,
boring
I
person
literally
did?
just drinking.
I drink too much.
I
man.
drank too much. Like that was about it. Like I really didn't. I didn't have the mindset to like do something stupid or do something like extra like crazy like. And like for me, like I've always been a conservative person, and she knows. Like I like to drink, but like at the same time, I'm very conservative. So like, I don't like to put myself out there. So yeah, I guess the craziest thing I did was drink.
The craziest thing I've ever done in college. Okay, so in Riverside,
Mm-hmm.
we had like buildings, right? Like a bunch of buildings, different colleges. A group of us late at night would get a little intoxicated, you know, drink a little, and we started climbing buildings, like all the way up to the roof. We would climb up on buildings, and then we would jump from buildings to other buildings. So
my
kind of like
Oh my-
like doing parkour, but not
My-
without the flippings. There was a part where we had to climb over a railing. Under the railing, there's nothing, and if I fall, I could die. It was kind of like life and death situation, but you know, like I was a little drunk, so I was like, you know what? I got this. So I climb over, and then I made that jump, and then after that, I'm just like, oh my god, I almost died.
We had a kickback at a
Mhm.
house,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was wasted, like
Mhm.
drunk on something. I asked my very close friends
Mm-hmm.
to use a boba straw and blew baby powder up my ass. It felt great. That was a one-time thing, though. We didn't do it again.
I think going 110 on the carpool lane
Oh,
probably-
dang.
one of my craziest. Yeah, I was late to dance practice.
Wow, priorities.
Yeah, and I was going 110 on the carpool lane. That's a good one.